Bill O'Reilly here, Tuesday, October 29th, 2019. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening across our nation. House Democrats schedule their first formal vote on impeachment. Joe Biden refuses to acknowledge President Trump's ISIS raid success. 7 in 10 millennials may support socialism. The Air Force mystery space plane returns to Earth. Escape from L.A. as Hollywood celebrities flee the wildfires. Also ahead, the message, is legal pot a good thing? But first, House Democrats announcing their plans to hold a formal vote on the impeachment inquiry regarding President Trump. Legislators will finally cast a ballot on the controversial move after weeks of closed-door meetings. There are currently 7 Democrats, most in districts won by Donald Trump in 2016, who refuse to comment on whether they will support impeachment if it comes to that. The Republicans call the whole thing a sham. Joe Biden refusing to give the president credit for the operation that took out ISIS mastermind al-Baghdadi, flat out insisting, quote, "It's clear that this victory was not due to Donald Trump's leadership." You may remember Mr. Biden did praise Barack Obama for getting Osama bin Laden, even though the vice president opposed the mission. A new poll says America's youth far more liberal than previous generations. The YouGov survey shows 70% of millennials are likely to vote for a socialist candidate if given the option. 1 in 3 millennials view communist policies favorably. And 1 in 10 think President Trump has caused more death and human rights violations than Stalin and Hitler. The results speak very poorly to America's educational system. The Air Force's mysterious X-37B spaceplane back to Earth after 780 days in orbit. The unmanned vehicle successfully landing at NASA's Kennedy Space Center near Orlando, Florida. The solar-powered craft, designed to spend years in space, more than 90% of its payloads and missions remain highly classified, meaning we will not know if aliens hitched a ride back. Massive wildfires plaguing Los Angeles, causing some Hollywood celebrities to flee their mansions. A-listers include Arnold Schwarzenegger, Maria Shriver, and NBA superstar LeBron James. The inferno has now destroyed about 500 acres in West LA. That's about the size of the country of Monaco. In a moment, legalizing pot, good or bad? Right back with it. Finding a good real estate agent who understands your needs can be incredibly difficult. My friend Glenn Beck started the service realestateagentsitrust.com to make sure you get connected with agents who are ambitious and have a long and successful track record. They're agents who are experts in your town and do business like you with your values. I heard a story of a family whose home had been on the market for more than a year, and they were facing a difficult scenario of what to do next. They learned about Real Estate Agents I Trust, and after contact, a real estate agent was able to go in, make some changes to the house, and then sold the house within 3 weeks. This is why I endorse realestateagentsitrust.com. No pinheads, just great agents. I wouldn't hesitate to use Real Estate Agents I Trust if I were going to sell my home. So get moving today with realestateagentsitrust.com. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. Should the USA legalize marijuana? First, some history. Pot is a hemp-based product, and hemp was widely grown and used in the American colonies for products like rope, paper, and cloth. The crop was ultimately replaced with cotton. In the 1900s, Mexican immigrants introduced the mind-altering effects of the drug, which became popular with jazz musicians in the 1920s. Lawmakers moved to ban marijuana following the repeal of prohibition in the 1930s, painting the drug as far worse than alcohol and, quote, a growing social menace, unquote. 29 states initially banned marijuana, which was then outlawed completely in 1937. Fast forward to today. Right now, there are 11 states that permit the consumption of marijuana for recreational use: Alaska, California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Illinois, Michigan, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Maine. You must be 21 to purchase pot, just like tobacco. An additional 22 states have legalized the use of marijuana for medical purposes if prescribed by a doctor, which is easy because many pot shops often hire their own doctors who write scripts for anything. 1 in 7 U.S. adults use marijuana on a semi-regular basis, according to studies. 9% of Americans have consumed marijuana in the last 30 days. The National Survey on Drug Use and Health claims 2% of U.S. adults now have a marijuana abuse problem. That's approximately 6.6 million people. Marijuana accounts for 67% of new drug treatment admissions for teenagers. Big problem with young people. Major factors in teen abuse are the availability of marijuana and the perceived harmlessness of the drug. Despite legalization, a report from the Department of Public Safety shows felony marijuana cases for crimes like conspiracy, distribution, and possession actually increased from 2015 to 2017. That's because pushers can now buy the drug legally in some states and transport it to other states where it's illegal. Also, states that have legalized marijuana have seen big increases in DUI accidents, raising public safety concerns. Colorado was one of the first states in the USA to legalize recreational marijuana back in 2012. Recent data shows pot shops generate more than $110 million a month in the Rocky Mountain state. But the question Americans should address is the worthiness of adding yet another intoxicant to the legal marketplace. It's obvious that you cannot control pot use by policing. That's impossible. But decriminalizing marijuana might be better than legalizing it outright because of the kids. When something is legal, children deem it acceptable. And once a kid uses pot and gets intoxicated, say goodbye to childhood. Ask any drug counselor. And that's the message. Please check out my latest book, The United States of Trump. It's good. You'll like it. Big hit. Up next, something you might not know. Millions of Americans have been diagnosed with cancer or a serious illness. If you are one of them and money is a problem, you're not alone. It's simple. If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, then Life Guide Partners can evaluate your coverage for free to see if you qualify for cash now when you need it the most. Be ready to take down this number. If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more and you are living with a serious illness, then Life Guide Partners can evaluate your coverage free to see if you qualify for cash now. So write this number down, 1-888-GUIDE-50. Totally free to call. Get rid of those insurance premiums. Stop paying them. Consider turning that life policy into cash. The number again, 1-888-GUIDE-50. 1-888-484-3350. 1-888-GUIDE-50. Call now. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. More than 215 Democratic members of the House apparently support impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump, largely a reaction to President Trump's July phone conversation with the leader of Ukraine. Speaker Nancy Pelosi plans to hold the first formal vote on removing Donald Trump from office this week. Should Democrats move forward with impeachment, Donald Trump will become the third commander-in-chief to be impeached, the second being Bill Clinton back in 1998. Mr. Clinton was acquitted in the Senate. But the first effort by legislators to remove a chief executive from the White House was way back in 1868. Andrew Johnson, a hard-drinking, tough guy. The 17th president of the United States was born in 1808 in North Carolina. He would later become a congressman, governor of Tennessee, United States senator, and finally vice president. On April 14, 1865, Vice President Johnson met President Lincoln for the first time. They didn't know each other at all. Old Abe would be shot dead later that evening. Andrew Johnson was not fit to run the country, and chaos ensued over Reconstruction of the South after the Civil War. His opponents, and there were many, trumped up, pardon the pun, some charges against Johnson. He was ultimately impeached and convicted by the U.S. Senate, but lawmakers failed to gain 2/3 needed in the Senate to remove him. Andrew Johnson would complete his term, lose his party's nomination, and refuse to take part in the inauguration of Ulysses S. Grant, opting to ride his horse from the White House in solitude. But here's something about our 17th president you might not know. Andrew Johnson delivered his keynote speech at Abraham Lincoln's second inauguration completely drunk. He arrived in Washington suffering from typhoid fever. Doctors recommended vast quantities of whiskey to ease the pain and break his temperature. Johnson willingly agreed. Things got so bad, bystanders had to physically remove Andrew Johnson after he nearly collapsed while swearing in new lawmakers. 151 years later, another impeachment effort is here. So far, no one has turned up intoxicated, although it may seem that way. Back after this. It's an uncertain world out there, you know that. Disaster can strike at any time. So you need to be prepared to protect yourself and your family. One way to do that is with freeze-dried food. It tastes good, it's healthy, can be stored for 25 years. That's why I'm happy to tell you about a company I recommend, Wise Foods. I have experience with them myself. During Superstorm Sandy, I lost power for 7 days. All of my refrigerated food done. But my food supply from Wise Foods was as fresh as the day I received it. Visit Wise Food Storage, one word, wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, and explore their starter kits and long-term emergency food options. They are even offering free shipping plus a big discount of 25% off for my listeners. So please go to wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, wisefoodstorage.com/Bill, or you can call 855-269-0501. That's 855-269-0501. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.